Hello, I'm Carol Hilty, Superintendent of the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind, CSDB. Welcome. I'm happy that you have decided to watch this program. I hope that you enjoy it. We welcome your feedback.
Ski. Ski. Ski.
Snowboard. Snowboard. Snowboard.
Hey!
Hi,
What did you do this weekend?
I went skiing.
Wow, you ski? I snowboard. Do you mind if I join you?
Of course, come with me. You snowboard, and I want to learn. Would you mind teaching me?
Sure, I'm happy to teach you. All right.
Ski. Ski. Ski.
Snowboard. 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 Learning from adult role models who are deaf or hard of hearing, presented by Outreach Programs, the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind. The CSDB logo is displayed with the tagline, Learning, Thriving, Leading. Our presenter, Shay, is seated on a carpeted step in a reading corner of a kindergarten classroom. She is communicating in sign language with voice narration. Captions are below on screen. Title, Shay.
Hi, my name is Shay White. I am a deaf person. I was born deaf. My mom had rubella when she was pregnant. And when I was born, my mom had no idea that I was deaf until 13 months old. She knew something wasn't right, so she decided to go to the doctor. And the doctor said, no, she's hearing. And the reason he said that is because he would stand behind me and I would look behind me to see where he was. So they said I was hearing. Ultimately, the fourth doctor did say I was deaf, and my mom wasn't sure what to do. This particular doctor recommended that I go to the oral school for the deaf. So my mom placed me there at the age of 1.
Title, Challenges Growing Up.
So after 5 years at the oral school, I learned how to communicate by speaking only. At this particular school, signing was forbidden. So I learned how to speak, and I have a tendency to read lips. And my mom, too, reads lips. And that's how she and I communicated with one another. Now, when it came to my dad, he did not lip read. And if I didn't understand what he was saying, I would spell the word in the air. We didn't use any sign language in terms of the alphabet, so it was spelling in the air when I communicated with my dad. So again, when I finished with the oral school, I went to a mainstream program, and I was the only deaf child at that school. There was a deaf program there, so I did attend this school. Later, I found a card that had the ABCs on it, and I showed it to my mom, and my mom said, no, that's not sign language. No, it's not fingerspelling. And her response really confused me. So I went back to school, and I asked the teacher, is this fingerspelling the ABCs? And she said, yes, it is. And when I realized, my mom was afraid that I would learn sign language and I would no longer use my voice. And she was scared by that thought. So she did not encourage the sign language. Finally, we did learn sign when I was in middle school, and my mom learned sign language as well. But she used English word order, such as I am going to the store. So again, it was an English word order. I went to a deaf camp, and there were so many deaf people there. And I realized that there are a lot of deaf people. And I wish I knew this a long time ago. I wish I had met many deaf people before. So my friend and I, who both attended that oral program, so we knew each other. We communicated with one another, not using sign, but I had to rely on her to tell me what everybody was saying. And I didn't feel great about that at all. I went to the camp again, and things did get better. And when I got to high school, it was then that it really hit me. My communication was limited. I was missing what everybody was saying. Growing up, I did not have an interpreter. I didn't write back and forth with others. And again, it was high school that I realized I was missing things. I was taking a chemistry class, and I couldn't lip read the million-dollar words they were using. So I relied on my classmate, and we wrote on carbon paper, and I would get the notes that way, but still it was a struggle. My mom had it on a recorder, and she would take notes for me, but what a responsibility for her to have to do that. It was very difficult, socializing with the kids at the school, with all of the hearing kids. Fortunately, I did have two friends that helped me out a lot. Again, when kids were talking to me, they didn't look at me anymore. Because hearing people tend to look around as they're talking. I need that eye contact. I need to look right at them to understand what they're saying. So again, it was extremely difficult for me.
Title: Education and Career.
I graduated and I did go to college. I went to Gallaudet University. It's a college for the deaf. And I had a little bit of culture shock when it came to deaf culture. You'd see the different groups. You'd have one that would be speaking. You would have a group of people that come from a strong deaf family that use ASL. Another group would use Pidgin Signed English or direct English. I was under the impression that we were all the same, but that wasn't the case. But anyway, I graduated from Gallaudet with a BA in secondary education in math. And after that, I decided to go for my master's in deaf education, and that was in Maryland. I loved math when I was growing up. I did become a math teacher, and that's what I'm doing now. And I want these deaf students to learn and have a challenge. I want to teach them to do better based on my experiences. I don't want them to be substandard. Growing up, I missed a lot, specifically with vocabulary. Not having the sign language, I didn't learn those words. I wish my parents had let me learn sign language when I was younger so I could improve upon my vocabulary. When I got to Gallaudet, I learned sign language, and when I came back home, my mom, she was shocked. She saw a change. She saw that I was better, and she regrets not putting me in a school for the deaf. I would have sign language to communicate, and ultimately my vocabulary would have been enhanced. I am grateful to my parents for allowing me to socialize with hearing people and for allowing me to socialize with deaf people as well. I have two modes of communication. I'm able to speak with the hearing people, and I'm able to use ASL with deaf people. I'm most comfortable communicating with American Sign Language because I don't miss any information. When I'm talking with hearing people, again, I don't have perfect speech. And when it comes to lip reading, I still miss things. So I prefer to use ASL as my mode of communication.
Title: Closing Thoughts.
What I would like for hearing people to know is that don't perceive them as deaf people can't do things. Deaf people can do anything they want. They can do anything that hearing people can do, except hear.
Learning from adult role models who are deaf or hard of hearing has been a production of the Colorado School for the Deaf and the Blind, 33 North Institute Street, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 80903, 719-578-2100, www.csdb.org. Videography by Deb Branch and Sean Levier, copyright 2014.
Audio description, Jim Olson. Editing assistants, Diane Covington, Dr. Laura Douglas. Captioning, Neil Anthony Thomas, Corey McCormick. Transcription, Eleanor Vasquez.
Hi, my name is Kathy Bennett. I'm the ASL Service Coordinator at CSDB. I'm excited to be here today to share information about bilingual education. My topic today is putting bilingual practices into action. By that I mean to take what's known, the research, the theories behind bilingual education, and how to apply those to the classroom setting or home. First, let me explain what's meant by the term bilingual before I go on. Bilingual is using two or more languages. It can be Spanish and English, French and English, ASL and English, Italian and English, or any variety of languages. Today, we'll be focusing on ASL and English. First, you may be wondering, is ASL truly a language? Yes, it is a visual language with its own complex grammar, structures, rules, similar to English. So one can be bilingual in English and ASL. Some principles that are critical to bilingual education. Both ASL and English are valued equally. Secondly, ASL is recognized as a fully accessible language for deaf and hard of hearing. By fully accessible, we mean receptively, they see it all around them, they are fully able to access it and have full conversations, not simplified, brief conversations, but have full access to communication around them. Third, once competence in your first language is established, that leads to competence in the second language. Let me explain that a little bit more. L1 is short for first language, and L2 is short for second language. When one has a strong foundation in ASL, then they're able to pick up English easily. Those students who don't have a strong L1 means that they could struggle or be behind and have a difficult time keeping up. I'm going to share some information about how to build that strong foundation and transfer between the two of them. And the final principle is that a deaf student's primary language is ASL. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about BICS and CALP. BICS is more like informal language, more of a social language. When you're talking with friends or family, out communicating, socializing with family and friends, ages 3, 4, and 5, it starts. When they enter kindergarten, they start more formal language or CALP instruction. About 5, 6, 7, and on up, they pick up that language. I'm going to show you a chart that illustrates this. Social ASL, or BICS, Academic ASL, CALP, Social English, BICS, Academic English. So the chart shows you the 4 different quadrants. And I'll expand on each of these. How and where you can reinforce those, and I'll explain each of these more in depth. Now I'll discuss social ASL. Social ASL really includes a variety of things: video phone, conversation, family to family, or friend to friend through a video phone. Also the use of VRS with a relay interpreter, maybe calling grandma or grandpa or different hearing family members who don't sign and need to use VRS. Vlogs are very popular. You can look for ASL vlogs and watch a variety of those. YouTube also. Music in ASL can be enjoyable. Finger spelling, names and such. Stories in ASL. Often libraries will have them, or schools, or family members signing stories. Deaf adults can share stories in ASL. Interacting with deaf children or deaf adults, just that interaction and communication between them. Those are all social functions, or BICs. Now let's discuss academic ASL, or CALPs. ASL translations, English to ASL, and evaluating the differences between them. Digital video, guided viewing, analyzing what's being watched and analyzing the ASL. Also the use of iPods or iPads. Many videos can be accessed there. News shows in sign language. Role play. Connecting English to ASL through role play. Really, there are a variety. Okay, now let's move to social English. That includes IM or instant messaging, text messages, blogs, email, chat room, discussion there, the use of iPods again, open or closed captions, karaoke, the use of rhymes, stories that rhyme. Also interacting with adults and children, writing back and forth, and interacting, emailing. That's all social English. Now, academic English includes a variety of things: English translations, digital storytelling, class weblogs, web publishing, digital video projects, independent reading projects, finger spelling again, open and closed caption, and textbook reading. Here are some examples of each. First, let's talk about social ASL. How can that be reinforced? Where do you get this kind of information? How do you support your children developing this? Social ASL is critical from birth to help support developing that language. There are a variety of services that can help the child acquire this language. First, early intervention. Colorado has Colorado Home Intervention Program. Second, ELDI, or Early Literacy Development Initiative, ELDI. Included within that is the Shared Reading Project integrated reading project, family literacy packs, and early years. Definitely, different locations and states would have additional services included. Also, attending different events with families where you are able to interact with different families is very important. You can ask a deaf adult for information about these gatherings. It's critical to focus on language development from a very early age and not wait. Also, deaf role models are very important. The deaf community events, and there are a variety of ASL videos, livestream.com, and various others. CSDB's website, csdb.org. YouTube, again, has a variety of videos. You can practice your sign skills and your receptive skills. She went to tell her father the bad news. When she got to the house, Megan heard a noise coming from the kitchen. It went oink, oink. What else do you want to play with? Look around. Do you want to swing? Do you want to slide? What else would you like to do? Swing. Oh, okay. You want to swing and go swing up high? All right. Now, what is academic ASL? Formal ASL classes. By that I mean for deaf, hard of hearing students. Deaf studies classes. The use of ASL in different content areas also. Often, the need for an academic ASL class is questioned because the students already know ASL. Social ASL is picked up easily, but they're not given the opportunity to really analyze the structure, the grammar, and the rules of ASL. By participating in an ASL class, they're really able to understand better that structure and then transfer that knowledge to an academic English class. Having staff, teachers, parents who sign well is critical as language models for those students so they can develop their language naturally. Without those types of language models, without staff and parents being able to sign well, they really may struggle. It's so important that parents and teachers and staff all sign to the best of their ability and communicate to those deaf and hard of hearing children so they can access English also better. There are several studies that say when those students acquire a first language in ASL, they're able to transfer that and succeed in English. If they have limited skills in ASL, then their English skills may also be limited and they may often struggle to try to keep up, and it will be more difficult. Remember in math class you learned about tens and ones? So put down your age. How old are you? Okay, 13. So 13, let's see how we show that. We tie 1 tens, and then for the ones, we make 1 knot for tens on the string. How many knots do we need to make for the ones? We make those thicker, right? Make a second thicker one and a third one. That makes 3 altogether. Is that clear? Now let's try birthdays. $10, $11, $12. Cents. There are different signs for coins. Penny, 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents. Nickel, dime, quarter. Okay, so this week we're going to start studying drugs. It's not this sign, drugs. That's more like if you went to a store or a doctor gave you medication, those kind of things. But this sign is something that's bad. It's not permitted. The law doesn't permit it, those kinds of drugs. Do you know some names of some different drugs? Let's do some brainstorming. Give me some names. Okay, now we've talked about Bics and CALPs. You see what is L1 and L2 as English. And here's the chart. What is wrong? What do you see wrong in this picture? Often, social language from an early age until they enter school is most focused on. When they have to learn academic English, they really struggle to try to catch up. Those students are not exposed to academic ASL. It's so critical to have that strong foundation of ASL to learn deaf culture and history and be able to transfer that knowledge to acquire academic English. All 4 of these are very critical to develop and be successful in both language and be truly bilingual in both English and ASL. Let me explain the 3 different categories. First, deaf children with deaf parents tend to have very fluent language skills and be fully bilingual. Deaf children whose parents are hearing and know little sign may have limited social ASL skills and limited social English as well. Academic ASL and academic English may also be something they struggle with. The third are deaf children with hearing parents who sign well. They may have opportunities to socialize and meet deaf individuals. Their academic ASL may also be lacking. Their social English may be developing, and their academic English may be something they struggle with. Those are really just some general categories. All of these children need opportunities to be involved in developing their language and to take advantage of learning language to pick it up naturally. Inclusion in formal ASL classes really help develop that language, and in turn that can apply to social and academic English. The best scenario is to provide all 4, social and academic ASL in English.
Ski. Ski. Ski.
Snowboard. 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 Hey!
Hi,
What did you do this weekend?
I went skiing.
Wow, you ski? I snowboard. Do you mind if I join you?
Of course. Come with me. You snowboard, and I want to learn. Would you mind teaching me?
Sure, I'm happy to teach you. All right.
Ski. Ski. Ski.
Snowboard.
Snowboard. Snowboard.